You know, people often ask the question, are science and God opposed? Has science disproved Christianity? This assertion stems partly from the historical God of the gaps idea, that God was used to explain all of the things in the universe that we couldn't understand. As science progressively explained more and more natural phenomena, God was needed less and less, and then pushed out completely. Historians of science certainly don't believe that science and God are opposed. If this were the case, we would expect that there would be no scientists at all believing in God, wouldn't we? And yet there are many high-profile scientists alive today who very publicly declare their faith. Two examples are Jennifer Wiseman, senior project scientist at the Hubble Space Telescope, and Francis Collins, former director of the Human Genome Project, which sought to decipher the entire chemical makeup of the human genetic code. In fact, a survey was conducted of all the Nobel Prize winners in the 20th century. It was found that 85% of them self-identified as Christian or Jewish. And if you look back into centuries past, many great scientists were Christians. Isaac Newton, Florence Nightingale, Michael Faraday, James Maxwell, Blaise Pascal. I could go on. Are you surprised? Well, we shouldn't be. You see, the scientific revolution was only made possible within a worldview based on belief in God. It required several assumptions. Firstly, that the universe was ordered and rational with laws that don't change. Second, that humanity was made in God's image with rational minds able to reason and discover truth. Third, God gave humanity the command to go and investigate the world. And lastly, at the same time, unfortunately, humanity is falling due to sin. It's not able to be objective and has the capacity to misinterpret or fudge data. This necessitates the system of peer review and repetition of experiments to verify results. That is a hallmark of academic rigor today. So, we can conclude that being a scientist doesn't mean you have to reject God. You see, when it comes down to it, science and religion deal with different categories. Science concerns itself purely with the material world. On the other hand, God and religion concern themselves with the material world, but much more, the non-material and spiritual as well. Science asks observational questions of how. On the other hand, religion more often asks why. This means that science and religion complement each other. For example, science can't answer the question, is there a God? Or why does the universe exist? What is my purpose in life? Or what is moral or good? Science has other limits. It can't adjudicate history. It can't repeat what has happened in the past to prove or disprove historical events. Science deals with the mechanism of the operation of the universe, but God deals with who is behind it all and why are things the way they are. It's interesting to note that some scientists of late have strayed into answering the question of why, but don't be fooled. They aren't basing their conclusions on scientific evidence. So don't think that to believe in God, you have to abandon science. Far from it. Science and God can go hand in hand. I hope that's been helpful. And if you've got more questions about what it means to believe in God, one of the best ways to find answers is to go to the fall.au.